Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Leslie Blevins with Anilda Clinic at anildaclinic.com. And today we are having another expert video to add to the resource library. Before we get started, please click subscribe if you're at YouTube, or if you're at anildaclinic.com, go ahead and sign up for the email list so that you get these videos in your email. There's one email a week, and each week we're having a different expert. I'm also starting a webinar series. I just had a webinar on attention building in your young child. I had one a couple of months ago on building the growth mindset, and every month I'm asking my subscribers, what do they want me to teach about? So if you want to be a part of that, and if you want to learn more about child development, sign up for the email list. So let's get started. Today I have Jen Wilking here. She's coming from Denver, Colorado. She's a physical therapist, a yoga instructor, and a yoga meditation instructor. I think I got them all right. I mean, you're so specialized. I'm so excited to have you here. Can you tell us a little bit more about your training and what you do?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So physical therapist from long time ago, that was the first one. And then after that, I found yoga and I thought, wow, this is really amazing, and in some ways more effective than the things that I was doing. So I became a yoga teacher, and then I began to do some training. There are several people that are integrating yoga and healthcare, so I began to do more trainings that bridge the two together. And so today I teach yoga for Parkinson's. I teach breathing and yoga Nidra, which is a form of guided meditation, one of my favorite things to teach and that we'll be sharing today. And most everything that I do is online, either by courses, I have a couple of live classes, and then just materials that I create.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And like Jen said, today what we're going to talk about is breathing technique to relax your body. And Jen will tell us how it applies to, I'm sure, several different things. And then we're going to do a 5-minute guided meditation. And we're going to learn about how all of these different strategies can support you in feeling calm, being that parent that you're aspiring to be, or just staying inside that zone that you're already in, because I know so many of you guys are super awesome. All right, so Jen, take us into breathing, and how are we supposed to be breathing to be calm and relaxed and feeling cool?
Great, thank you. One of the first things that the first point I want to make is it doesn't take very long. And you don't have to set out, 15 minutes or half an hour for meditation practice or even go anywhere special. So this first one that we'll do is just lengthening the exhalations. So the two types of nervous system, so the ramp up, the fight or flight, and then there's the relax into rest and digest. And what we want to do when we're feeling a little overwhelmed or, everything is going a little wild, we want to take it toward that rest and digest. And we can simply do that by lengthening the exhalation. So if you find a comfortable seat and then give your shoulders a little shake, your jaw and your neck, we tend to breathe up here. And that breath feeds directly into more of a fight or flight type of thing. So if you relax through your shoulders and then aim toward the lower part of your rib cage. So front to back, side to side. We're going to aim low and slow. So instead of a big deep breath, we're just going to take a low and slow breath. If you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to. Relax through the shoulders. Breathe in through your nose, just a medium-sized breath. And then as you exhale, blow the air out through pursed lips, as if you were blowing bubbles or blowing the petals off of a flower. At the end of your exhalation, breathe in through the nose. Notice if when you breathe in, if you take your shoulders with you, relax them down. Try to let the shoulders not have to do any work. And the lower ribs are doing the work as you breathe in, 2, 3, 4. And then as you breathe out through pursed lips, that slows down the exhalation. When you reach the end of your exhalation, keep going. Keep the inhalation medium-sized, lengthen your exhalation. And then begin to notice the transition space. So at the very bottom of the exhalation, there's a little transition space. I like to call it a hover. So it's not a breath hold, it's just that hover in between. And then at the very top of your inhalation, again, a little hover before the exhalation. Bring your focus there. See if you can hover for just a beat longer than you might normally. Create a little space in the transition. And then let the pursed lips fall away and just continue with that breath at your pace in your way. In through the nose. Slow exhalation. And then in your own time, open your eyes back up.
But if I don't want to.
I know, or we could just stay here. That's fine. We could just stay here. Truly, it doesn't take very long. So you can be sitting in your car, even a handful of extended exhalations. If something has just, kind of lit you up or something, you can quickly de-escalate things or just give yourself a tiny bit of space. And it's not just trying to talk yourself out of it. It is physiologically bringing your parasympathetic nervous system online, decreasing your heart rate, your respiratory rate, helping with mood and stress, all different kinds of things, even digestion, right? Like it feeds into how your gut feels and how you're able to digest food.
Well, I have to say, so I hope you guys followed along. If you didn't, rewind and actually do it. I feel so much calmer. And I was telling Jen before we got started that I am starting to get a migraine this morning. And even that has dampened down after doing that. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, goodness.
Great.
Yeah. I'm so excited to hear about your online offerings because that right there just sold me.
Like, I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm wondering, should this be a daily practice, like as a preventive approach, or should it be something that you do like right now with me having this budding migraine? Is it something I should do only whenever I'm noticing my fight or flight reflexes starting to ramp up? Like, when should I do it?
I would say to do it regularly. So it only takes a minute or two. You might want to do it before you get out of bed or maybe right before you brush your teeth. It helps to stack it with another habit that you always do. So let's say I'm going to get up. I just need one extra minute to take these breaths where I remind myself to take it out of my neck and bring it into the lower ribs, which is where the diaphragm is, the primary muscle of inspiration. But a lot of us tend to use our chest to breathe more than the diaphragm. So you could stack it with before you get up, before you brush your teeth. And then also, as you mentioned, anytime that you need it, you feel the stress coming on or a migraine coming on, or someone just said something to you and you're like, ooh, I need a minute, right? So ideally though, over time, it becomes your normal way of breathing. But what happens is for a lot of us, whether it's stress or cues, we've been told to throw our shoulders back and suck in our belly and pull up our pelvic floors. None of those things are helpful for breathing.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. Okay. At the risk of giving too much personal information on this interview, I had a back injury about a year ago, and I've been seeing a physical therapist, and I understand that whole pelvic floor thing because they were like, you're super weak. Let's build muscle and all that kind of stuff. And it is really hard to engage your stomach muscles and do that lower, like your diaphragm breathing. It is super hard. That takes so much training.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of have it, but if I've eaten a big meal, I can't do it.
I can't do it. One of the biggest points about the breath is that it's dynamic, and women especially, everyone, but women especially get taught to hold the belly in and the pelvic floor up. And so the breath is dynamic. And if we're always trying to kind of crunch it down, it's very hard for the diaphragm to do what it needs to do. So one of the things that I like to do is to have people make a diaphragm and then make a pelvic floor. And I didn't plan to do this. I'm not in the greatest position, but I think you can see as you breathe in, your diaphragm moves down and your pelvic floor and your belly give a little. As you exhale, they come back up and in. And so you want that movement. So when you inhale, you let your belly give a little. When you exhale through pursed lips, if you give it a little extra oomph, you'll feel your low belly come back up and in with it. And you want that to happen. You want that to be fluid instead of static.
Right. So that makes sense, because I've always wondered, you know, on TV shows and movies, because I don't have personal experience, but whenever they are telling the women to breathe through pursed lips, like how it's kind of helping them to relax. Like, now I understand, like whenever they're in labor or whatever. Cool. Awesome. I'm wondering how, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yes, slowing it slows it down, adds a little resistance to the air coming out.
Awesome. So I've not in any way taught this with as much of the medical physiological background as what you're doing, but I've attempted to teach this, and I guess a more child version of it in my therapy sessions. I'm wondering, how would you talk about this breathing technique if you were teaching it to a child, or having a parent teach it to a child?
For kids. So for kids, you could even use actual bubbles, anything that gets them to extend their exhalations in a playful way. So play feeds into that feeling of safety, and they feel safe and playful, and then all of those things work together. So you could have them pretend to blow bubbles, actually blow bubbles, pretend to blow the petals off of a flower, or another fun thing is birthday candles, or light a candle and have them just try to make the candle dance, like make the flame dance instead of blow it out. And then if you blow it out, no big deal, you just light it again. So little things like that can be fun games. It also gives them a lot of focus and helps filter the noise of all the things that are running rampant.
I love that. All of those are awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. Okay, so I have a question. I would like some feedback from you. One of the things that I have noticed helps my adults and my children to get this idea is to call it belly breathing, deep belly breathing. And then I will have them, whenever they take in their breath, to pretend they're blowing up a balloon, and then to let all the air out of the balloon. And they do the pursed lips while they're doing that whenever they exhale. And
when they're breathing in, they're blowing up the balloon?
Yeah. So it's like, it's almost like they stretch their muscles in their stomach. And so it kind of gets them, it's helping them to kind of focus on their stomach more than their chest. And that's how, because I didn't realize that, you know, just touching your stomach kind of helps you to focus on those muscles. And so I'm wondering if I shouldn't do that anymore and just do like this hands on the rib cage thing.
Well, the hands on the rib cage thing is nice because if you think of it like an oval, or like a jellyfish or something. So as you breathe in, that oval is getting bigger all the way around 360 degrees. So you could pick something that, you know, that would resonate with the child. I had someone say, oh, it's a Target logo getting bigger, or I have another friend that uses jellyfish or umbrella or something like that. And then when you bring your hands on your rib cage, I usually have people aim for the lower back ribs, because that way you get the whole diaphragm front to back, side to side. And so instead of aiming at the chest or at the belly, at that middle part is where the diaphragm gets the most stimulation and can go through the most range of motion. It's not that you shouldn't do belly breathing, but belly breathing can be really helpful when you're completely supported and just really trying to relax. But if you're up and moving, your belly muscles are going to engage, but I try not to cue them to actually engage, because then people will hold them. So I usually either use the lower rib cage, or when you have them blow out the air, on the exhalation, the belly will naturally come in. And then I'll say, as you inhale, let your belly give. With kids, that's not as important. For most of them, they'll be breathing pretty well, but if they're under stress, they might tend to hold that same amount of tension there. So you might want to use that cue of let your belly relax a bit, especially if you notice they're holding tension there.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. Okay. So you're going to do a 5-minute demonstration for meditation. I'm so excited about this. Let's do it.
So to intro this, so this 5-minute meditation, this you can do on your own, and I actually will give you at the end the information to download the PDF. It's a very simple 4 steps. So you're going to start with your senses, you're going to connect, align, and focus. It's about a 5-minute practice. What we'll give you at the end is a PDF that you could put up to remind you and just follow the steps. And there's also a link in it to a 5-minute guided meditation that'll be similar to what we're doing today.
Okay.
Okay. So same thing, if you want to close your eyes.
I do want to close my eyes.
You're like, I do.
Mm-hmm.
So close your eyes, and remember, as you're settling in, notice if there's any tension in your neck or your jaw. Make sure you're completely supported. And if you don't want to sit down, you're also welcome wherever you are to lie down or to lie on your side. And then eyes can be open, closed, or covered. As you find a comfortable position, remember that this practice is yours. Let judgment and analysis fall away, and allow the experience to unfold without effort. As your body settles into stillness, bring attention to your senses. Let sound come to your ears from far away and close by. Light, colors, or shapes to your eyes. Scents to your nose. Tastes to your mouth. Feel the surfaces that are providing support. Sense the movement of your breath, the gentle flow of energy through your body. Rest into a sense of safety and well-being. A foundation of stillness and balance, peace and belonging. Invite memories, images, people, or places that nourish feelings of being open, spacious, timeless, whole. Strengthen your connection to well-being and notice where and how do you feel this in your body. Now bring to mind what matters to you, what calls you. What could you use more of or less of in your life? What gives you a sense of purpose and meaning? With an open mind and without expectation, let it arrive in the simplest of terms. In a word, a feeling, an image. Welcome what arises and give it permission to develop over time. Whatever it is that's important to you, what does this look like in your life? How can you facilitate it? Create an intention that puts the focus on aligning your values with your thoughts, words, and actions. Feel your body supported by the chair, the floor, wherever you are. Notice the slow, easy flow of your breath. In your time and in your way, create a little movement or take a little stretch. Coming back to eyes open and ready to return.
That was so good. It was. I
I'm
feel like I
glad you
had a
liked
big
it.
insight about my life that I don't want to share, but I did. I had a big insight about my life.
Like, I don't want to talk about it, but it happened.
Yeah, it did. It did. It was really helpful.
So this style of meditation is called Yoga Nidra. It's guided meditation, and the style that I teach is called iRest meditation, and it stands for Integrative Restoration. And the institute was created by Richard Miller, and he's also a psychologist. And lots of research backed. They've worked with veterans, people who have been through trauma, stress, homelessness, different types of things. And they have a ton of resources. I'll share some links and things with you so that you can share with your viewers. But this style of guided meditation is helps to kind of get out of your head and see what comes up for you. One of the reasons I really resonated with the things you had on your website, you talked about giving people tools and being a guide to help them find what works for them. Like, they're ultimately the ones that are going to make this work and to integrate what works for them. So that's what this practice is about. It's giving you tools. For some people, tapping into the senses really works. For some people, feeling the body and the breath, whatever it is, you can take that piece and use it whenever you need it.
Yeah, it felt very aligned to the work I do with acceptance and commitment therapy. And for me, my personal experience was that it helped me to realize that there is a particular value in my life that I'm off with in my daily activities. I don't give that value anytime, ever. And it's because I'm focused on other values, but that one value is kind of starved right now. And I think that would give me a lot of fulfillment if I focused on it. So
yeah.
So.
Sometimes the lack of alignment with what's actually important to you causes stress, and sometimes it's just more of a loss. Like, if you brought it in, it would make everything else better.
Yeah, and I think for especially moms, working with moms, I think they have such a dynamic day every single day. have so many roles that they're filling, and they tend to be the supporter or the helper for so many people in their lives, that my experience just now with that meditation was that it really helped me to put myself as a priority for that 5 minutes, and to think about what would rejuvenate me, and how could I today really like make myself and my actions, my words, all those things feel really good for me. And I think that's something that a lot of moms tell me is actually kind of at the root if they're having any kind of stress or anxiety or depression, anything like that. A lot of times it's that misalignment where they don't ever get to fulfill their own needs.
Well, because we think like we just keep giving because we can. We're like, just pour it out, pour it out. We're the last one that, but if we give ourselves the time and the space, then, you know, if our cup is full, we're able to, we've got more creativity, we've got more patience, we, you know, we can help bring out the best in others. But it's so hard to find the time. I know that, which is why this is super short. The first one you can do in a minute or two, and the second one is 5 minutes. So just finding little pockets of time for yourself. And then it's really a service. It's another service to everyone else, because you're taking good care of you. And then that is rippling out into the world.
Yeah, I love it so much. Okay, so tell us how people can learn more about you and work with you, because I'm super interested in that.
So my website is just my name, jenwilking.com. And that's got some information there about my classes. So I teach a weekly class on Tuesday, which is a combination of movement. So it's yoga, postures for the first 45 minutes, and then a half an hour of guided yoga nidra. I have some guided meditations on Insight Timer, which is an app with lots of free resources for people to use. They also have things for kids on there, so highly recommend. And then I'm creating a course that's focused on breathing, and it will go through kind of, I mean, we hit on some main points, but it'll go through like, here's what the diaphragm, here's the pelvic floor, look at the muscles and the function of breath, work it in with posture, taking a look at some of those myths that we've been told about throwing the shoulders back and holding the pelvic floor in, and then really integrating it into movement and helping undo those unhelpful messages or things that have happened that have caused us to shift the way we breathe, so that we can feed into that more relaxed and empowered state. And then the other thing that I do that's one of my favorite things, I do it quarterly, is a yoga nidra series, and it's 4 weeks in a row. And it's really breaking down these steps of guided meditation. There's a little journaling involved, and then a full practice in each one. And it helps people who are interested in developing their own yoga nidra practice. So they'll have recordings to use and all of that, but also they'll have the tools to either run through their own practice at any time, or, as I said, pick out the pieces, parts. And one of the things in it that I love is the practice of opposites. And I have a YouTube channel, speaking of opposites. It's youtube.com/yoga with Jen that I just started, and it actually has a guided yoga nidra practice of opposites in it. So if you want to give that a try, those are all ways to do more.
Awesome. I love it. And everybody, I'll have links to all of this in the show notes, wherever you're watching, YouTube or untiltedclinic.com. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate everything.
Thank you for having me, Leslie. I appreciate it. That was fun.
Yeah, wonderful. Everybody, you can find more learning videos at untiltedclinic.com/learning. Be sure to sign up to get these in your email. All right. Bye, everybody.